Dream House, Dumb House. That's what this should be called. This is like 4 or 5 different movies in one, and all of them are just about as dumb as can be.
Well, no. From what I can see from the trailer, I see The Shining and Shutter Island.
Well, what you see from the trailer, you've seen the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So wait, so you're telling me that it doesn't involve the Barbie Dreamhouse, the Toy Story Part 4 spin-off horror film
that's still coming.
I've been waiting for forever.
Yeah. No Malibu dream car, no Ken beating Barbie or anything like that. No, it's not the Barbie dream house. It's anything but a dream house. It's anything but a dream of a movie. It's anything but a good film. And actually, what you just said about it being a cross between The Shining and Shutter Island, you nailed it, man.
I would say The Shining and the others, kind of, really, because that was the angle I kept seeing in it. I mean,
that's the angle I got from the trailer, which honestly really spoiled this movie. And from what I've heard, at least from what you just told me, that the director is pissed off. That is a very key moment.
Well, I don't understand why anyone would sell this movie with this trailer who actually watched the film and the way it plays out and know, that pretty much gives away the biggest twist in the whole movie. I mean, without that, people are like, okay, we're just waiting for the fucking shoe to drop when this happens halfway through the film.
Yeah, Universal couldn't imagine it either, because they just put a big ass over the theater and just dumped this film. I mean, they did not care at all. I mean, you got an Oscar winner, Rachel Weisz. You got 2 Oscar contenders, the director
Jim Sheridan,
and I get
Naomi Watts,
yeah. And then you got James Bond in this, supposed to be kicking ass and everything right now. Daniel Craig is the guy right now, and he can't sell a movie for shit. And Universal apparently believe that too, because they did not want to take a chance on this film, and they just put it out there. And no screenings, no big marketing for it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I felt like we all saw that trailer enough to know about the twist, because it seemed like for a while every movie I was going to see, they were sticking that trailer on it. And then suddenly I see it's in the theater, and I was like, wow, nothing to let me know this was coming out, no screening.
Yeah, that just so to show you how much Universal didn't care. They looked at that trailer and they just said, ain't nobody gonna see this shit anyway. Just put the movie in the trailer.
Like somebody went like, well, now that you've shown the movie in the trailer, what's the point for us to even tell them to go see it?
Well, they just saw it. Oh, by the way, did I mention who Kaiser Soze is in the Usual Suspects trailer? Come on. Yeah. It's like doing that. You're like, oh, really? Who's doing this shit?
The most offending part about the trailer is that it's been so fucking done. I mean, just looking at it, I'm just like, all right, I don't give a shit if 007 or fucking you throw in fucking Batman and all the other superheroes in this goddamn movie. I just don't care, because how many times can I see fucking paint rot in a goddamn house, where I'm like, oh, look, a couple of kids holding hands looking at a fucking wall. I've seen that before.
See,
who cares?
I actually think that this twist could have worked, but there was somewhere in there that somebody said, fuck it, nobody really gives a shit. Let's not worry about making sure all the ducks line up in a row and this is actually plausible here. Because for performances-wise, I was actually a little bit sucked into it. I mean, I thought Daniel Craig and Rachel Weisz together, they have a lot of chemistry, as is apparent since they fucking got married right afterwards.
Yeah, he totally stole her away from Aronofsky on that film.
Right. And there's actually some good dialogue written. They do it well, but there's all these things that just don't fucking make sense. Like, if this is what the twist is, then how about this scene earlier? That doesn't make any sense. What was happening there?
Yeah, you are
Why
better
would
off.
someone act that way?
Yeah, you are better off watching the twist in the trailer, because it makes more sense. It's not convoluted.
So what is which other movie's plot does this lead off with?
The movie actually has, to me, this movie is split up in 4 parts, and the setup for it, to me, is the best part. You have Daniel Craig, who plays a guy named Will Anteton, some crazy-ass name. He works at a publishing house in Manhattan, decides to quit his job, up and leave, move out to the suburbs in this nice house that he bought, and spend more time with his wife and his 2 kids and work on his novel.
Oh, so here's a guy who's never seen The Shining.
Or hundreds of other films that start that.
See, if he had.
That's like the main one.
He's the guy who said, I'm going to wait for that on Blu-ray. That shit's going to come out soon. Why ruin just watching the regular DVD? I'm going to see that shit in crystal clear vision.
I'll get it on torrents later.
Yeah, so he gets out there and everything seemed perfect. His wife is fine as hell, played by Rachel Weisz. They got 2 beautiful kids who are real-life sisters, by the way.
Yeah, and who are great in the movie.
And they are,
too.
Yeah, Trish and Dee Dee, actually played by 2 girls named Taylor and Claire Gear. And, it's perfect. perfect.
It's a
Picture
dream
perfect.
house.
It is strictly a dream house. Yeah. Well, you know, Barbie should have been in this movie. She should have played the wife.
Does he wear a cardigan and smoke a pipe?
Well,
Little patches on his elbow.
You know what? He would have, but life, of course, can't let anything be perfect and has to like fuck up everything. Right when he's about to put on that jacket and light up that pipe.
Yeah, he realizes he's in the Nexus.
Yeah, that's when crazy shit starts.
Is that when
happening.
it switches to the next movie it rips off?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, you know, he's all cool, but then the neighbor, played by Naomi Watts, is staring at him like she's drank 6 energy drinks. Her eyes just cannot get small.
And her ex-husband.
Yeah, her ex-husband is
nothing but glare at him everywhere he goes.
Yeah, he actually drives by and, like, you know, just drives slow so he can just mean mug his ass like, asshole. He's just like, I just moved in, man. What did I do?
Drive by glaring.
Come on, we've all been that person at some point when you get new neighbors and you're like, God damn it, I can't fucking have my parties anymore. I gotta worry about this asshole.
You know, it had to be Naomi Watts came home. Hey, have you met the new neighbors? The husband's kind of hot, and the wife, she's really, really nice, and I like the kids. Wait. You said the husband's hot? The fuck? Yo, God damn. You want to fuck him? Is that what it is?
Yeah, he pretty much just drives by pointing his finger, you motherfucker. Me after work. But you know,
who plays the ex-husband?
The worst part about that is they are the character equivalent to someone opening a drawer in a movie and seeing a gun and go, I didn't know there was a gun there, and closing it again. You know, oh, that'll never come up again later. It's like, and it won't till the time when it's absolutely needed in the film.
By the way,
things up.
The husband is Martin Susskind, who we just saw in the dead.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, but you know, things get even weird. He's like, well, I'll just talk to these neighbors, but nah, you know, there's a creepy guy who's following him around, played by Elias Codius. And then one night he finds like these goth kids, like it's their house, just hanging out in the basement.
In a room that he did not know was there.
Was there, yeah.
It was just behind a sliding door in the basement, which is like a trap door. Secret thing is just like, there's a door here. That's weird. I'll open it. Oh, wow.
And he's like, hey, and it comes with free goth kids. You know?
This guy had the worst realtor ever.
Well, you know, hey, look, and these kids, he's like, get out of here, you damn kids. Of course, one of the kids falls. He picks her up and is like, what are you doing here? She's like, hey, man, don't you know we're here for the deaths?
The murder house.
Yeah. And he's like, what murders? He's like, yeah, there was a guy that lived here who murdered his family, shot his wife and 2 kids. And then one of the guys was like, oh shit, he's back. And then they all drive off. Now at this point, you know,
it was a night just like tonight.
Yeah.
So like a dump truck falling off the Empire State Building.
And when they pulled the body from the twisted rim, it looked like this.
He tells his realtor, like, these goth kids were down there. Goth kids, they died in a fire 5 years ago. What did they look like? No, actually, he figures out, like, there's whoever that killed his family in his house.
Yeah, Peter something.
But he realizes, like, this guy still has some influence on this house. I mean, the murder still somehow affects society. So he has to figure out, like, at this point, you know, is this guy like coming back to hunt my family? Is there some conspiracy against me because the police aren't doing anything? Am I just imagining things and my kids are going crazy? He doesn't know. There's a whole world of mystery surrounding this. Now, that's the first part of the movie. And I think the setup for that is great because it's like, all right, the worst you could say about it is that, you know, you can tell that there's a twist coming up.
Sure.
But what makes it cool is exactly what you said. One, Rachel Weisz and Daniel Craig, they do have wonderful chemistry as parents.
And they make you jealous of that. You're watching it like, now that's a good family. That's a loving family. There's a couple who belong together. They've got cool kids. You know, you're like jealous of that. You're like, wow, this is a dream house.
No,
I hope nothing goes horribly wrong.
I just knew we shouldn't have moved out of the city.
Baby, don't say that.
I knew that this wasn't going to last.
What?
This! There's something wrong with this house.
No, baby, there isn't. We'll do whatever it takes, okay? We'll hire a priest.
Hire a priest? Where'd you do that?
Well, it's a whole witch doctor, whatever. I don't know. We'll feng shui the place. It's our house. There's joy in this house. There's real joy in this house. You're in it, so go on.
What is that out there?
Why can't I be 007?
Actually, I'm thinking like, fuck, I want them to be my parents like today.
Seriously.
And so, you like seeing them interact with these kids, man. They actually are great. And I've seen so many movies now. Shutter Island was one of them where it's like, I see where this is kind of going. Might not know the exact, output of this, but I do like watching them piece these things together.
Yeah.
And so I was cool with that. I didn't care about a twist. And this whole thing, we're talking about them spoiling the twist. They show that twist midway through the film. So they're not really, really worried about it. They're kind of like thinking, oh, well, it's okay if we show it because there's more film to go. Except that the more film that they have to go is the dumb shit.
Yeah.
It's the dumb. The more they go on, the dumber this movie gets. As I said, this movie's in 4 parts to me. The first 2 parts are the stuff I just told you about. The third part is like this tediously silly mystery that Daniel Craig has to put together that goes so slow and it doesn't make sense. And then the last part is just this thriller that is outright stupid.
Well, yeah, because, they've set him up so much to be such a nice guy, and you like him so much already. It's a given that he's a nice guy. Let's just put it that way. And so you got to find out what the real answer is. Who's the person we're looking for? And if you can't figure that out in the first 5 minutes of this film, really, you haven't been paying attention at all.
I just figured it out right now, and I don't feel so stupid.
Yeah, well, you just look at the cast list and figure it out pretty much.
Well, that's true. I mean, I know there's an actor you mentioned who usually plays bad guys.
Yeah. And it's like one of those things, like even while you're figuring out, because it's so obvious, and it's like it's dropping hints that are just they're in a cinematic way that are stupid, that are too big of a giveaway. Because you're like I said, it's like that gun in a drawer thing.
Yeah.
But even so, when it comes together, you're like, that doesn't make any sense. That would not happen. People would not behave that way. I don't care what else you add into the equation. It just wouldn't fucking happen.
No, because there's like a crazy guy that they have let come out that's obviously dangerous to this family, and nobody treats this with any kind of urgency at all. They're just kind of like, hey, the guy's cool. He served his time. Let him be, and it's like, this guy's obviously a danger to everybody.
That was something I wondered about from the trailer, because where he's talking to them, he's going like, I need to see the footage of this guy who I know killed my family. Wait, that's me. And they look at him like, yeah. All right, now get out of here. Like, wait, shouldn't they like bum rush him and lock him back up again at that point?
Well, yeah, that's the biggest problem is that a lot of the stuff going on here, people are just, once you go in retrospect of what you know after the twist, you're like, well, then no one would actually do those things. And for that matter, what the hell is the deal with you? When you take that whole goth kid scene in perspective of everything else, it makes absolutely no sense at all.
No.
It's like, what?
Once I thought that this movie couldn't get any dumber, they introduced like a 5th element to it, which is
Bruce Willis? No, it's love.
It's love.
The 5th element is love, which they do introduce in here to a silly extent. But no, it turns into a ghost story. Yeah. And I'm like, man, that in the ghost story that they have in here doesn't make any sense in context to anything else that this movie had done.
If I feel like if they had kept it like what was that John Cusack movie where it was like where he had multiple personalities?
Oh, golly, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but it was one of those things that, yes, ultimately it was this guy trying to fix things in his own brain. And if this movie had kept to that, I would have gone, oh, actually, okay, I kind of see that. That's kind of cool. But no, it had to go, oh, but the ghosts have to fight back. It's some ghost badassery going on.
Yeah, they might as well just brought Casper out in this shit.
Seriously.
It's like, it's just ridiculous.
Don't hurt him. He's my friend.
It would have been funny had they had like Daniel Craig jump out his shoes. Ghost, right? Because it's dumb. Cyrus, you and I were talking before, like how
I'm just picturing that. His eyes bugging out of his head.
Jump through a window and shit. Yeah,
man, acting like Shaggy.
Yeah, they might as well have brought in a talking dog to help them solve this fucking mystery. There's a
Daniel Craig. I'm
I just think those fast moving legs with that stupid sound effect that go nowhere. nowhere.
No, he takes off running and his clothes follow a second later.
I'm getting out of here.
Wow, this movie sounds like a winner. I can't wait to see it.
I know you guys got the right idea though.
I think those God Kids were like
with
the
Casper and Scooby Doo.
Oh yeah, no, I think those God Kids were like the mystery crew. You know,
You might as well throw in Boo Berry while you're at it.
I know.
Have
Daniel
an
Craig is
ensemble cast.
Yeah, you know, Daniel Craig is grabbing that kid and is like, "What are you doing in my basement?" Like, "Hey man, you didn't hear about the deaths here? Scoop, tell him, man, get James Bond off me." It could have, you know what? It could have been a Scooby Doo mystery guest starring James Bond.
Here's another thing I didn't even think about until I was like scanning like what was going on online and some of the contention about this after the fact. But like, all right, so this guy's supposed to be an ex-professional editor, and he's like, God, how am I going to find out information about these murders? And he's like trying everything except the internet, which apparently just doesn't exist in this world at all.
No, it doesn't. You're right about it. It does not. But you know what? I can excuse that given to what they reveal in the movie later. You know, knowing what is involved with the twist. But it is funny how he is like a guy who you learn that he's a guy that's worked for a big publishing company, is writing a novel, and the only thing that he does to like figure out what this mystery is about is harassing the cops. Come on, man. Yeah, damn, man. Y'all know something now. Come on. They're like, sir, you're going about your day. Hey, fuck y'all, man. Y'all ain't the police, man. Whatever. Fuck the police, man. Yeah. Shit, donut eating motherfuckers. Get out of here. Okay, sorry. But we were talking earlier about how some of this stuff that doesn't make sense is because they tested this in front of like a test screening audience. And the people who screened it before, the audience that they had, just railed against this film. They hated how it ended, and they went and like reshot, re-edited, and tacked on something that just didn't make sense. And it feels like that forget the twist. The real twist is the shit that happens at the very end that doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, it actually makes sense, but it's the ending that's put on there that is, once you know what happens. I mean, if you don't know the story, it does feel like, man, they didn't really have an idea how to end this, and they just put something on there to have like mass appeal.
Yeah, well, it was one of those like, okay, well, the audiences obviously like this main character a lot, and we can't go with the darker version, which actually would make more sense, you would think. So we'll just go, you know what? There's some characters we barely used here. We'll just throw them in and come up with this really contrived explanation as to how, what the answer is, so we can all feel warm and cuddly at the end.
All right, now, the director, Jim Sheridan, has taken a big hit from the critics on this. Like, how could he do this? And what happened to this guy? Did he forget how to make movies? But Cyrus, you're saying like it's not his fault. The studio took it away from him?
I don't know. Who knows?
Okay.
I'm not privy to watching what the rushes were like before it got changed. And it did, in fact, get taken away from him at some point. But I have no idea to what degree. I mean, like I said, the studio was saying it wasn't testing well. So apparently it wasn't that great of a movie before that. But the thing I'll say for Sheridan is he is so good at working with actors. And I don't think that he's any lesser for that in this film.
I wouldn't blame him for it myself. And it's funny because you read a lot about this movie and all the bad word of mouth it's getting, all the bad reviews. He seems to be the one where they say, this guy is out of his league here. He doesn't know how to direct a thriller or a horror movie. And yet you read about this one screenwriter attached to this guy named David Luca, I think is how you say his name. And
he lives on the second floor.
Yeah. And nobody's blaming this guy for anything. It's just kind of like, this was a screenplay that had potential. And it's just, to me, it's like, well, fuck, the problems with this started with the writing.
Yeah,
that's what sucks about being a director. I don't think I've ever read or been in read or heard of a situation where the writing can be complete shit, yet the writers are almost immune to any kind of backlash. It's the director, because the director is in charge.
I was hearing a story just the other day from a screenwriter who was saying, okay, I'm not going to say this film, but we were writing this movie and we're pretty much done, and all the pieces were in place, and we had even started pre-production filming when we got a note from an executive that one of those notes you're not allowed to ignore it say, this needs to have a parrot in it somewhere that farts and does it all the time. And like, what? And so we had to go back and rewrite the entire first third of this film because there was an executive who apparently thought it would be funny to have a farting
You know
parrot
what?
in a movie.
And that's what this sounds like. Yeah. Even that sounds funny.
I know. I was about to say this movie sounds like it needs a farting parrot, a farting ghost or something. I don't know.
This movie would have been helped by that.
Yeah. It's a ghost. He's not so bad.
But maybe
this is crazy.
Maybe it's one of those things like that scene with the goth kids. Once again, I keep coming back to that. It's so weird. And they pointedly show two of the actors of the goth kids. One of them, the male kid looked familiar. I was like, I feel like I've seen him somewhere. It's like, oh yeah, probably because he's the nephew of some executive.
Probably
it's like,
so.
I need you to add a scene to put this kid in here.
No, they're trying to bring in that Hot Topic crowd. That's all they're trying to do. I see it.
You're right. This is a situation where it seems like nobody who's involved in the director or the screenwriter's place should be really blamed. It just seemed like a studio film gone wrong. I mean, yeah, screenwriters usually don't get enough credit, but this is one situation where they could just kind of like lay low while Jim Sheridan's taking a hit. The screenwriter just hiding behind a wall, creeping away. Don't fuck with me. But no, it's a studio film that just tested badly. They didn't know what to do with it. It went wrong. They thought they had all the right ingredients with a beginning good script. They had all the right people in it, big names, but it's just none of it works together. I don't know at what point it went wrong, but none of these things fit. Forget about the twist. Yeah, I mean, fucking if this was Citizen Kane, goddamn Orson Welles would hit the trailer would have been him just you looking at the screen talking about Rosebud as a sled. You know what I mean?
Oh great, I haven't seen it. Thanks.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
A lot of people are blaming the movie for that, and it's not the big blame for that. It's just that this film is a mess and only works probably at the beginning. It only works minimally at the beginning. And, when I was watching it and laughing so hard at the end, I was like, man, I could just as easily get into some bullshit. But I enjoyed that first like hour. I mean, that's like that first hour is a movie to me that, since it's not a whole film,
So it wasn't a sinking. It wasn't a sinking turd.
No, it was not. No, that first 45 minutes to an hour as a short film is worth saying it's a rental.
It's funny that I don't think this is a terrible film. I think it is, like I said, it feels fractured. It feels like there are too many people working on it. It felt like not everybody was talking to each other. And whenever you have a film that's trying to build a really complex series of layers of reality, you need to make sure everyone is on the exact same page. You can't make a Jacob's Ladder without making sure that every scene makes sense in the continuity of what is being revealed later. And this fucks that up on so many ways and so many different times. On the other hand, like I said, I thought Sheridan does a great job directing these actors who are already great actors, wonderful to watch. It's a shame Naomi Watts isn't in it more. You're kind of like, why are you even here, Naomi Watts? Yeah. Did you really just want to work with Sheridan that bad?
She was wasted, wasn't
yeah,
she?
she's like, you're like, this is a great actress. And she's barely in the movie, all things considered. But yeah, there's no denying the fact that it really falls apart towards the end. There's so many WTF moments, and I almost feel like I would be more forgiving if that twist in the middle had actually been a gut punch, because it would have been if we weren't told flat out ahead of time, oh, by the way, this is the twist. If it was like, oh man, that's fucked up.
You would have seen it coming anyway.
Maybe not. I'm kind of dumb. So
get out of here. You would have seen it coming before I would. I'm the dumb one, man. I'm the one that I don't see twists that much.
Yeah, you're right. But
hey, wait a minute.
See how I trapped you into that one?
See, I told you I don't see twists coming.
But yeah, I actually give this a high rental. I do think it's actually worth seeing, but see it with lowered expectations.
Yeah. And a lot of people are saying that, and I'm surprised nobody brought this up. A lot of people are saying that Jim Sheridan does not know how to direct horror movies, and he does. He's directed a very horrifying movie that I've seen one time that he did. And don't any of y'all remember Get Rich or Die Trying?
Oh, geez.
50 Cent. Goddamn, seeing 50 Cent try to act, that's about as terrified as you can get.
The horror was in that theater, just being trapped in there watching it.
Hey, Leon, my name is...
Oh, that's what mumblecore is.
Whenever you're trapped in a theater with black people, that's usually a horror film sometimes, if you're Cyrus.
I don't understand what he's saying.